Sometimes, the road to happiness doesn't begin with joy. It begins with a boy, a dream, and a promise whispered in the early morning wind. This is the story of Tomba, a young man from the rolling hills of Nimba County, Liberia, who left behind everything familiar to chase something he couldn't see but believed with all his heart. The sun rose gently over the red soil of Nimba. Smoke curled from cooking huts, roosters crowed, and there stood Tomba, just 18, with nothing but a worn-out bag and hope in his chest. His mother, Maya, stood close, eyes already watery. She handed him a wrapped parcel of fried cassava and dry meat. "Eat this on the way," she said. "City life is hard, but if you stay true to yourself, you will survive." They hugged for what felt like forever. Tomba looked her in the eyes and whispered, "I'll make you proud, Ma. I swear it." And just like that, he climbed onto a rusted pickup truck and waved goodbye to his childhood. Monrovia hit him like a slap. So loud, so fast, car horns, street hawkers, generators, everything moved like it was in a rush, and no one noticed the boy with dust on his boots. He had no family in the city, no place to sleep, just his name and a dream. That first night, he laid his mat under a storefront in Douala. Mosquitoes buzzed, hunger gnawed, but he looked up at the stars and whispered, "I didn't come this far to give up." At sunrise, he found a construction site. Big men hauling blocks, supervisors shouting. He walked up to a hard-faced foreman named Mr. Johnson. Nervous. "Sir, I'm looking for work. I can do anything." Mr. Johnson, skeptical. "You sure you can lift sand with those book hands?" Tomba picked up a shovel. He didn't answer. He just worked. He worked until his palms bled, until his shirt clung to his back, until he earned a silent nod from the foreman. That was day one. By night, Tomba slept on cement floors. He used his bag as a pillow. He stored his soap, rice bowl, and Bible in a single bucket. But even in this struggle, he held on to something many had lost: faith. One evening after work, he passed a building that said, "Adult Night School. Enroll today." He walked in covered in cement dust. The registrar stared. Professor Mensah, calm. "You want to study after all that labor?" Tomba, determined. "Yes, sir, I want to rise." Professor, "Then suffer twice, by day and by night." And so he did. By day, he hauled bricks. By night, he learned algebra. By midnight, he read by candlelight, or sometimes just the glow of his phone. He skipped meals, he missed sleep, but he never missed a class. They called him construction boy in school. But he didn't mind, because while others laughed, he was building a foundation. Then came the breaking point. Tomba arrived late for work after a big exam. Mr. Johnson was furious. Mr. Johnson yelling, "This is university, boy. You won't be late again. You're finished." Tomba apologized. He almost quit. But that night, he knelt beside his bucket and prayed in low voice, "God, just open one door." And the door came as a flyer on the school bulletin board. Internship opportunity, dream company, seeking night school students with high performance. His heart pounded. He wasn't the smartest, he wasn't the loudest, but he knew how to fight for a chance. Professor Mensah pulled him aside, saying, "You've worked harder than anyone I've seen. Give it a try." The interview room was cold. Glass walls, shiny floors. Tomba wore a second-hand shirt, ironed 5 times the night before. He sat across from a man in a clean suit. Interviewer 2 asked him, "You've never worked in an office. Why should we choose you?" Tomba looked him in the eye. "Because I show up. I ask questions. I stay late. I don't have much, but I give everything." The room went quiet. A week later, his phone rang. Interviewer 2 warmly said on the phone, "Tomba, congratulations. You got the internship." He dropped his bag on the sidewalk. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He called his mother, choked up while yelling, "Ma, I got it. Your son made it." "Ma, yeah, overwhelmed. I always knew my son. I always knew." Tomba showed up to that internship every day. Before anyone else, he asked questions. He studied every process. He stayed past closing time to help clean. In 6 months, he went from the guy who fetched coffee to the guy everyone asked for help. And then another door opened. The manager called him in. "Your internship is over, but we're not letting you go. You've earned a full-time position as junior manager." Tomba's eyes widened. His throat closed up. Tomba whispering, "Manager, me?" "Yes, you, the boy who wouldn't give up." That night, his classmates threw a small party at a corner restaurant. Professor Mensah raised a bottle of soda. "To Tomba, the boy who built his own road with sweat and faith," cheers echoed. Tomba smiled, knowing this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. Months later, a clean car pulled up in Nimba. Out stepped Tomba, neatly dressed, holding a suitcase full of gifts. His mother ran to him. Tears, laughter, and pride danced in her eyes. Tomba yelled, "Ma, I got promoted. I'm a manager now. And you're still my same humble boy." Villagers gathered. They clapped. They smiled. A boy nearby watched him, wide-eyed, maybe thinking, "If he can do it, maybe I can too." Today, the name Tomba echoes far beyond the dusty roads of Nimba County. It lives in the laughter of children learning to type on second-hand computers in a classroom he built. It lives in the hands of young men shaping wood into furniture in the vocational workshop he designed. It lives in the determined eyes of girls who now believe they too can lead, create, and thrive, because someone from their own soil showed them it was possible. What began as a single step on a long road became a path for hundreds. Because Tomba didn't just return home with money in his pocket. He came back with a mission in his heart: to light the candle for the next generation, to create a place where dreams didn't have to travel to the city to grow. Through scholarships, mentorship, and the Skills Training Center, now rising in the heart of his hometown, he is changing lives, not for applause, but because he remembers what it felt like to stand in the dark, alone, and hope for light. The road to happiness is not always paved. Sometimes it's rough, winding, lonely, but if you stay true, if you don't quit, you might just find that happiness was waiting right at the end of the road you carved yourself.